This video is to help you with making a drawing sheet for the Smokestack. So we're going to go to New, RH Drawing Sheet, and Create. Part name should be in all caps. Train, Smokestack. Period. Just like with any drawing sheet, we go to Base, and here we're going to select the little file folder to Smokestack. Now this is looking from it says front, but it's really looking from the top of the Smokestack. So that's what we want as our front view. I'm going to do things a little bit differently on this one because the bottom is so different from the top because of that angle. I'm going to move the front view here in the middle. Then we're going to do a top view, but we're also going to do a bottom projection. And then we'll do an isometric. Right click, OK. Now the reason I did this, we've talked about front, top, ISO, and right. But because our diameter is small on the bottom and it's larger on the top, and it's shelled out, that gives us a lot of these extra little dotted lines that get really confusing. So I think having a bottom view and a top view are going to be more helpful in this case. Once again, a drawing sheet is about clarity. So if you have to add extra views, you add extra views. If you have to violate the rules a little bit, you do that, as long as it's clear for those that are manufacturing the part. That's the most important thing. So let's go to Annotate, and we're going to add some dimensions. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do overall dimension, height. But you want to make sure you're selecting the top, but you're making sure you're selecting the very bottom line. Remember, we did a chamfer, and that created this two little lines right here. Make sure we get the very bottom one, and you should have a nice even number, a nice round number there, 1.75. Instead of something like 1.83 or something kind of strange like that. And then we're going to dimension the height of the very bottom. Make sure, once again, we're zooming in to select the very bottom line to here, the thickness of this insert piece. And then we're going to go ahead and go from the very bottom line up here to what we call the ridge. So that's good for your heights. The other thing we need to do on this view is put a chamfer note because we created this chamfer here, and you have to zoom in on this. So you want to click the bottom line and you want to click the angle line to get our chamfer. Now that doesn't look like the numbers we typed in. So let's change that. Let's try and do chamfer note. Let's do the angle line and then the side. There we go. That's what we want. So we have a chamfer, 0.01, 45 degrees. And you had to do the angle line, the one that's angled in, the chamfer line, and the side, not the bottom, in order to get the proper information. And in theory, that should be what your original documentation, if we go back to the original document that we looked at in Canvas. This was the Smokestack. If we look at the original document, as soon as it opens, and that's what we want, 0.01, 45 degrees. That's the note we want to make sure we're getting. We have this that we'll put in there, the diameters. We have these that we've just put in. So really now we need a diameter of the bottom. We need a diameter here around this ridge, this thickest part. We're going to do an angle measure here. See how we can get that done. And we will not have this whole note. Instead, we're going to write it in a shell note. Let's get back to Inventor. All right, so to get your proper diameters, you want to go to the view that shows it as a circle. I could do the width here and get 0.5, but it's just going to give me a width of 0.5. It's just going to say 0.50. But if I do from the bottom where it looks like a circle, and that's giving me the wrong number because I've chosen the wrong thing. I've chosen inside the chamfer. So you need to make sure you're choosing the outside circle. There we go. So that's a diameter, and they give you the diameter symbol. That diameter symbol does not show up if you dimension from a linear view. It has to be in circle view for you to get a diameter symbol. And then we'll do the same thing with these two diameters here and here. What's that one? That's not necessary. Now, we did say that there was a shell, that this shell has a thickness. That dotted line indicates that there is a thickness of the wall in the hollow space. And you can see the hollow space here. But you're not allowed to dimension the isometric view. So we can't put a dimension here to show the thickness of the shell. So what we need to do is we're going to create a section view of this image here. So I'm going to go back to place views. I'm going to choose section. I'm going to hover over sort of the middle of the part. I'm going to try and find a green dot to show me it's the middle. I may not be able to do it here. So I'm going to estimate the middle of this part. I'm going to go just above it. And I'm going to click once. I'm going to draw a line straight through the part like this. So I've drawn a line straight through, and I'm going to right click continue. So this is what we want. When all is said and done, we're going to have this section AA, scale 1 to 1. This shows us the internal structure. So from the outside, you see the hidden line as a hint. But from the outside, you don't notice that there's any structure, internal or otherwise. Once we do a section view, you see this with these hatch marks here. These are called section lines that run around the sides. Those section lines indicate solid material. So that means this is solid. Whereas this part that doesn't have those section lines is not solid, it's hollow. So now with this view, we can dimension the thickness of this wall. You just click on the end points of the lines. Yeah, that's a little bit better. We can do that. Now, we need to indicate that this 0.10, I've just hit escape. I'm going to drag the number over here. And so what I'm going to do, if I double click on the number, I'm going to type in all caps, shell. Press escape, click, and drag the text over to the side. That was a little tricky, but we finally got it. Play around with it until you get it. We want to indicate that it's a 0.10 shell, and by putting the word shell there, that tells people that are recreating the part or tells people that are setting up a machine to cut the part how we did that. We just want the whole thing hollowed out to that particular thickness. The only thing we haven't done is this angle measure here. Okay, since we do not have a vertical reference, we're going to have to reference the horizontal. So we're going to reference the horizontal here and here. And it does give us a 105-degree angle on the outside, which isn't perfect, but it gets the job done, I think. Ideally, we would like a vertical reference line to tell us it's a 15-degree slant inward, but we just don't have that on the drawing sheet. But we still need to mention that it is changed. The angle is changed. So putting this will at least draw attention to it, even if it's not the negative 15 degrees like we would like. But if it's from the vertical, 90 degrees from the vertical or from the horizontal, either way you want to look at it, 90 degrees plus 15 is 105. So that'll work for our purposes now. And that's it. We need to now save what we've got as a drawing sheet, and then we're going to export it. Go to File, Export, PDF. And it's that PDF that will be uploaded to Canvas.